Hello, my name is Amy Monsalve and I'm the wardrobe manager here at the American Shakespeare Center. I'm also the costume designer for our production of Louisa May Alcott's Little Women adapted by Erin Riley. I got my first sewing machine when I was 16 years old and learned bits and pieces as much as I could. I went to school for costumes at Clemson University, and then when I graduated, I had an internship at a small theater in North Carolina called the Flat Rock Playhouse. The way that I wanted Little Women to go is I wanted everyone to look really beautiful, but also for them to have a clear distinction of this is them when they're young, this is them as they're kind of figuring themselves out, and then the final look that we have them in is their mature look of, you know, they know who they are now. At the end of the play, Jo's book gets published. So these are things that really help show how much they're growing throughout the show. One of my favorite moments from Little Women is featuring a lot of handmade textiles. I myself am a textile artist, so this is a shawl that I crocheted for Marmee to help keep her warm in those cold Concord winters. So she has a nice little cross and it comes down to this beautiful point in the back. The way I chose Marmee's yarn is I started with this base color, this rich, dark reddish pink here. It's a color called Sangria. And the other two yarns I actually used from our stock here at the American Shakespeare Center. This is one of our other crochet pieces in the show. This was actually made by our wardrobe supervisor, Trina Yeager, again crocheted. And this is a piece that Beth wears in Act 1. This piece has some of my favorite details in the show. So this is a dress that Meg wears when she's a little more grown up, when she's trying to find a suitor at the Lawrence's party. But my favorite detail is actually these little pins here on the lapels. So Meg's name is Margaret, of course, and she has a little daisy pin. Daisy in Spanish is Margarita, so the daisy represents Meg perfectly. Then in Act 2, she has twins off stage. And the little twin pin daisies get added for Act 2 to show that her family is growing as well as the March family. Here we have Jo March's look from Act 1. She has this gorgeous little plaid skirt. She's a bit of a wild child, so she has a burnt patch from standing too close to the fire on her hem. In Act 2, she grows up a little bit more. She's having to make decisions about marriage, about her career, about making a name for herself. So she's in this dress for Act 2. It's a little bit of a heavier fabric, showing that she's matured a little bit. But she doesn't lose the things that make her classically Jo. She has this border at the bottom of her hem that matches the plaid from Act 1. And of course, she still has a burn patch, even though she's a terribly mature young lady now. One of my favorite pieces in this show is Jo's little blue capelet that she wears in Act 1. I really love how there's different patches on the capelet that are lending itself to being that messy, wild, kind of carefree spirit that Jo has, but it's also linking her community back together with her. There's patches from Lori's vest on there. There's the same fabric as on Amy's costume on there. There's a piece of Meg's fabric on there. And this piece was actually hand knit by the actor that plays Jo March. So it's bringing together all these sisters to show how they are working together and growing up together. And that's just a beautiful story that I like to tell. This is another one of my favorite elements that we used in our show, Little Women. We lovingly refer to this as the textile all through the rehearsal process. And it was created by a group of us getting together and doing the painting and stenciling that you see on the textile today. For example, Charlene made this beautiful pink flower and it got put right into her wings as Beth, the character. We also have a hennin hat, which is a princess hat for those that don't know, for Amy, because she's very dramatic and she plays the princess in Jo's play, The Witch's Curse, that the girls perform. We also have this apron that Meg wears. So I love this textile because it just really shows how creative these young girls are. It shows their imagination, their heart, they're working together, you know. Here are a couple of the hats that we use in Little Women. Our wardrobe supervisor, Trina Yeager, is amazing at arranging flowers, so we combined our skills and we made a lot of beautiful flowers for the edges of the guys' hats as well as some of the ladies. So this hat here belongs to Mr. Lawrence. He's a fancy gentleman that is very wealthy, so he has a very large stem of flowers and a nice tall top hat. The one that I'm wearing is for Mr. Brooke, and he has slightly less flowers, but he has an olive green hat band, which matches Meg's. And this final hat is worn by Beth. It's decorated with some baby's breath and hydrangeas, as well as some little bows and ribbons to just show the innocence and cuteness of Beth. Wanted to keep in mind what's historically accurate, what is comfortable for the duration of the show. We were running this show for about 3.5 months after it opened, so the costumes need to be something that are comfortable for the cast, are safe for the cast to work in. There's a couple moments of fight and choreography in the show, so I needed to make sure that they were going to be comfortable doing all the motion that they needed to be doing. Thinking about the character and the actor, because the character might wear something that the actor doesn't like, or the actor doesn't like something that the character would be all about. So it's about finding the balance of making the human being look beautiful that's wearing the costume, but also making it fit into the character that they're playing. They walked out on stage and I was immediately in tears. I just felt so connected. The actors brought such a heart. Our director, Constance Swain, and our assistant director, Kate Redman, really just brought all of the passion that they could into this project. So it made it very easy to bring my ideas and be heard and collaborate and figure out what needs to change. We were very close in communication with the whole team so that it made everything flow very easily. It was a beautiful experience.